It's Hot 97, Ebro in the morning. Rosenberg's here, and give it up. Our brother Jamie Hector's back on the program.
Woo!
Jamie, how you doing?
Extraordinaire.
You doing good?
I'm doing good, bro. Rosenberg. What's going on, guys?
How are you, man?
I'm well.
So, Jamie, I want to get right to it. You are in the Tupac film.
Yes.
What is the official title?
All Eyes on Me.
All Eyes on Me. Benny Boom, shout out to Benny Boom,
Shout
putting
out.
it together. Great brother. But in the process of filming this, I know John Singleton was going to be a director.
Right.
F. Gary Gray.
Right.
But you, sir, have locked in the Tupac's father role.
Stepfather, yeah.
Stepfather,
Mhm.
Mutulu Shakur.
Mutulu Shakur.
Wow, there's so many things. How did you prepare for the role? Let's start there.
You know, it happened really quick. Benny Boom sent me some material on Mutulu Shakur, a documentary that was done on him in regards to his life and his experience and his history. But for me, I tapped in, online because it happened like I got the part and then the next day I was on a plane going. So it was like read the script, understand exactly what's going on in the material, and then try to do as much research as possible, tapping in online. I didn't have time to go back and read as much books as I would like to, but I just delved in online and got as much information about him as I wanted to. And I'm not too far from the brother anyway because he's an activist and I understand exactly his thought process.
So in the film, the filming was already taking place when they brought you on.
Yes.
So how much of the father role of Tupac will we? I mean, you won't see the final edits, but from what you know.
Well, with myself and Tupac actually being a sponge as a youngin', he was at least, 7 years old, and seeing him absorbing everything that Mutulu was saying. I was on stage giving a speech at the Black Panther Party. And this is when Afeni introduced me, and then Tupac saw all of that, and then he came to visit me while I was in the penal system.
So Black nationalism and the Black nationalist movement is obviously heavy in the All Eyes on Me.
Absolutely.
How much do you even know this? Because I know obviously when you step in as an actor, you do your scenes, and then you don't necessarily know everything that's going on, but you read the entire script.
Yeah, absolutely.
How much do we actually get of Tupac's childhood versus the music life? Like, what's the dominating storyline that we see in this movie?
I think the dominating storyline of this movie is actually Tupac's life and how he was a revolutionary from birth through the influence of Afeni and Mutulu Shakur, and then transitioned into this life of this music experience, this always being on experience, and then somewhat shine away from that, and then being redirected again by Mutulu just to get back into understanding who you are. Listen, you got a pen and you have a microphone, you have it for a reason, so use it. And then with that, it's about the music, but it's more so about his intelligence and his purpose in life.
And is that generally how you feel the whole movie goes? Because if you try to include all of that, Tupac as the activist, as the son, as the confused young man, as the purposeful young man, as the leader. I mean, he has so many different things aside from music. Do you think there's a conscious effort in the film to focus on him as the person as opposed to getting in the nitty-gritty detail as an artist? Like, are you really going to see like him as a dancer for Digital Underground, then transitioning into rapping where he was featured on the same song, and then it grows from that? You know what I'm saying? Like, or can you tell from what you did if they kind of skip over some of the music details to get to some of the more important stuff? Or
No, they don't skip over the music details. I think they really stay focused on it, but the primary focus is Tupac and the fact that he was just not a normal dude. He had all of these things going on, but he was still able to create music, understanding his purpose. So that thread of Tupac being eccentric it carries throughout the entire film. And it's one of those things where it's just like he was a dancer for Digital Underground. And he was all of these things, and you saw how the world made him, and his music made him, and how he felt like he had to actually, compromise himself for the world, but then get dialed back into the reality that, look, this is who you are. You got to fight for the people. There was an interview I saw with Pac, and I started watching all of his interviews after that, right? And I was like, yo, this dude was really smart. There's some rappers that people say, yo, these dudes are smart, but then there's some dudes that's like, yo, this dude is smart. This dude really took time out to do the work and study about himself and his people. And this is one interview where he was talking about direction and having somebody like a signpost in front of you to give you direction. And I just found that interesting because he had that throughout his life, and that shows throughout the entire film.
One thing about Tupac is people will come to realize this. Maybe some will disagree with me, but I believe firmly, and I think you're on the same page. Tupac was a good rapper. He was a really good artist. He was a much greater and more significant and interesting person than he was artist. His artistry is cool, totally cool. But when you factor in how complex and how smart he was, I mean, you get some of it in the music, but it's every time you hear him talk is when you really get with it.
I think that's where the poetry books and all of, you know, his poetry and his writings and his purpose was his entry point to the music.
Absolutely.
The you know, black nationalism in America and making sure the message gets to the people is what he was introduced through Mutulu and his mother and being around that. Then let me put these words to music was almost secondary.
It's interesting. If you think about Tupac, instead of thinking of him as a rapper, thinking of him as a poet who converted to rapping, it almost gives you a whole different appreciation.
But that's what it is.
But that gives you a whole different appreciation of him as a rapper, because most people who try to do that sound like trash.
Yeah.
Right? They really don't do it well.
That's right.
So there are people like myself, right, who when they get in the Biggie Tupac debate about MCing, I always are on the side of Biggie. I think they're apples and oranges as MCs. But when you change and you don't look at it from that perspective, you're thinking about what he was capable of doing as a guy who rapping was kind of secondary to his brilliance as a writer and a poet. It changes the conversation completely.
Because by the end of Tupac's life, it's not hard to tell that he would have been changing lives through revolution, right? Through, like, listen, this is what we got to do to make our communities better constantly and consistently. And with Biggie Smalls, at the end of his life, I think he still would have been entertaining us.
Oh, yes. They were vastly different in that regard, too. You're 100% right. So it's funny. So you can almost break it down like that. Like, you can give the edge, as I do, as MCs go, to Biggie. But in terms of worldwide impact that they would have had in a social and political landscape, they're different. That's not what Biggie was out to do. That Tupac was out to do something completely and utterly different.
I mean, Dear Mama, Brenda's Got a Baby.
All of it.
You know, all of it.
Keep your head up.
Three
of his biggest, that just makes Pac the most interesting characters, because there are negative things that happen, but three of his 5 biggest hits are like women upliftment songs.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really
And he had
crazy.
a point to prove with that, too, because, I mean, you trap him in a room, and then that situation takes place, and he's like, that's not me. Yeah, you know, that's a total contradiction to who I really am. I was raised by women.
But were you able to gather from research that you've done, it did seem like, from what I could tell, that he was very regretful of the situation, period.
Even though you guys are talking about the hotel room and the rape charge.
In which Tupac did not commit rape, and no one thinks that he did commit rape, but there were people that were doing that.
Well, they made an example out of him because he was the big superstar at the time.
But that he was potentially aware and didn't do something to stop it. Because how people saw it.
Right.
And he still supposedly suffered from a lot of guilt about that. Like, he wasn't okay and didn't say, like, I didn't do anything wrong. But he was the one who really got held up.
Well, make no mistake, in the 90s, and you have a prolific person like Tupac with the messaging that he has, some of it degrading to women, some of it uplifting to the community, a lot of it uplifting, right?
Right.
Make no mistake, this is, I mean, you're old enough to remember C. Dolores Tucker and,
absolutely.
you know, Al Gore's wife and, you know,
Rolling
putting the
over the
parental,
CDs,
putting the parental, Pac was the face
of that. Pac and Snoop,
Pac and Snoop. People wanted them gone. And these aren't necessarily white people. These are the elder black civil rights leaders that didn't like the new black nationalist movement, which was hip-hop was kind of the umbrella, and black nationalism was woven into hip-hop from the beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning. And the thing about Pac also that's really beautiful was that whatever he spoke about, whatever affected his life, he went and wrote about it almost immediately. And with C. Dolores Tucker and everyone, it's just like, it's like the blues, man. And it was like jazz back in the days.
But I also remember Pac having, and I want to believe he said this publicly, and I feel like it happened in an interview, where he talked about how could, Pac at the time, 24, 25 years old, how could people who are 50 and 60 years old basically my aunts and uncles, mothers and fathers who see me and know what I'm going through, gonna drag me. I'm telling my story of what I went through and what I'm feeling in our horrible circumstances, right? In my horrible neighborhoods. I'm telling that story through music. And you have the audacity to pull me out in public and try to embarrass your children. That was a real conversation in the 90s.
Yeah, that was deep. Instead
Where
of
it was
pulling me
like,
behind the
instead
door.
of behind closed doors,
Yeah.
you want to see Dolores Tucker, you want to jump up in public and ridicule young people who are from your community,
Right.
right? Instead of working behind the scenes to give them a different experience, because when the experience is different, the music changes.
The music changes. The music changes. And when you get a chance to actually, I mean, for the most part, people that are coming up with Pac and around Pac and those that listen to his music, not when his music became popular,
Yeah.
right? That was the experience.
Yeah.
And they understood that life and they wrote about it. So for those that never experienced it, like C. Dolores Tucker possibly didn't, she didn't understand that way of life.
Do you capture any of this, or does Benny Boom, or does the script from what you read capture any of that?
I don't think it captures that portion with C. Dolores, but I think it really captures the conflict that Pac was dealing with throughout his life.
But
right?
not the the attention he was getting from government officials.
Oh no, yeah, it captures that. It
gets
captures
that.
all of that. Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, COINTELPRO
Yeah.
and all of that. You know, I mean, everything was a direct effect on the Black Panther Party, and he felt he was the Black Panther Party also. He was an offshoot of the Black Panther
Yes, he
Party,
was.
developing a new Black Panther Party, right? And of course, when you're like that, you always feel like they never stop following you.
Jamie Hector's here. All Eyes on Me. Do we have a release date for that?
No, I didn't get a
Not
release
yet.
date for that.
Not
no.
yet. But you also working on some on Amazon Prime. What's this
Absolutely.
Bosch? If you're not familiar and you're listening and watching this right now, Amazon has some amazing programming.
Oh, yeah.
And if you order Amazon Prime, which I have, because I like to order things and get it the same day. If I need fresh draws and fresh tees, bang, same
Fresh
day.
everything.
Fresh everything.
Yeah.
But you can also get content, movies, show series that
Yeah,
they have.
that's right.
And what's your series?
My series is Bosch. It's
Okay,
on
what's this
Amazon
about?
Prime. It's a writer. His name is Michael Connolly, and he developed a wonderful books, New York Times bestsellers, and they transitioned that into a TV show. And it's on Amazon Prime. It's called Bosch, and I'm an LAPD detective along with Titus Welliver. And we focus on crimes in LA, one crime throughout the year, and it's 10 episodes, and it drops. It dropped on March 11th, and we focus on solving those crimes that nobody really
I gotta
wants
catch up on this.
to focus on. Yeah, it's deep, man.
What's
it's
the
deep and it's
feedback
heavy.
so far?
Feedback is ill. I mean, the ratings, not even the ratings, but the response from viewership is just amazing, and the write-ups and everything like that is really doing well. It's doing very well, actually.
So Bosch is on Amazon Prime, and then also I know you've come up here several times about Moving Mountains, which
Oh,
I know
yeah.
is near and dear to your heart,
Yeah.
where you work in the neighborhoods and you actually work on with young children, young kids, teenagers who want to go into the acting
That's
and
right.
Broadway and things like that.
Yeah, it's a theater company I started, and it's Moving Mountains, and we focus on developing skills, talents, and abilities while building
And
character.
a paintball competition every
All
now
of
and
that,
then.
all of that. And paintball comedy. We try to keep it fun,
Yeah.
you know? So we got a couple of productions coming on, the West Side Story, Lion King in April and in May. And we focus on just, developing a platform, building a platform for youngins that want to come up and get into a difficult industry.
It's very
It's
hard.
not easy. Yeah.
How was it for you between The Wire and Heroes? Because how many years was that? You went from
The Wire to Hero. I went as soon as The Wire wrapped, I jumped on Heroes.
so that was good.
yeah,
And
that was
then
great.
Heroes to now, that feels like that was a
Nah, I've been working. But the thing about it, my work is not the demographic that The Wire caught right away, right? So
right.
for me, it was like person of interest. It was like
Right.
Just Another Day. It was you name it. I mean,
yeah. You stay active.
I was going, and if it wasn't there, it was on stage. I was blessed. I'm blessed, So now I got a couple of projects coming out. Quarry, that's on Cinemax, and we jumped off and on Power. We're just playing with it.
Yeah. Do you like where the industry's at today with the amount of cable opportunities and then the Netflix and the Amazon plus the box office
Yeah.
plus is that
I think
I
it's
mean
the-
when you got into it, I mean The Wire look, people may not give The Wire props, but The Wire was set the bar, The Wire and Oz for HBO programming.
Oh, yeah.
Before they had all these programs, I don't remember The Wire and Oz. I don't know anything else that HBO had that was a series before that, but that's just me because
Yeah.
I probably wasn't paying attention, but it feels like those programs
Set the bar.
set the
The
bar
good
for what
writing,
HBO,
good
the good
television.
writing, good television.
Yeah, and right now, to me, it's the golden era of TV. You have so much. I mean, there's so much to watch on television, but then there's so much good writing. And you have House of Cards, you have Bosch. You have all of these
Game
great
of
shows,
Thrones,
Game of
Walking
Thrones,
Dead.
Walking Dead, and then network TV is also piggybacking and catching up.
Empire, How to Get Away with Murder.
You understand?
Yeah.
So, and it's one of those things where you have an opportunity to do on television, especially with binge watching, which you've always wanted to do in film. But the opportunities wasn't there in film.
And you could go deeper on these series, right? Because a 2-hour movie, that's 2 episodes, or 2.5 episodes on TV. Now, you can go much farther.
Way further, yeah.
Are you I am with the Tupac film All Eyes on Me. I hope after this moment of the film that someone takes it and goes a step further into series in some regard. Because I feel like there's so much there.
And you feel like that's something Pac would have did.
I just feel like there's a lot of there.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the levels to which Tupac was music and community, his upbringing, his mom, his stepfather, just everything.
Oh yeah.
All of the hip hop, and that's before you get to the beef stories in hip hop and the inner workings of
that's
all of that.
Digital Underground. That's
all of
carrying
that.
crates for Red
all
Alert.
Of that.
That's
all
everything.
Of that. All
that's
of that.
drama school
all
in Baltimore.
All of it. Being with Jada Pinkett Smith.
You understand?
There was an item. You know what I mean? Like all of it. There's so many stories that I don't know if a film really gets
that deep into it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it all boils down to the writers also, if they could actually cram it all in together and make it make sense, right? And when I read the script, it made a lot of sense. From script to screen, though, you just hope the magic is there. And I believe the magic is still there because Benny Boom, he had a mean team around him, as well as himself. But transitioning into a TV show, I think people would really dial into that.
Yeah, but it just well done. Like it allows you to take your time with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not be under constraints. But that's just my opinion. So I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic about the All Eyes on Me. Because I've definitely heard behind the scenes that, you met Afeni, you met with Afeni, and was she on set? How did that work?
I didn't meet Afeni there. I crossed paths with her in the past, but no, the Nye, which is playing Afeni, and she's brilliant.
Got it.
She's doing an
But
amazing
Afeni
job.
wasn't actively involved in this?
I never met her.
Oh, never met her. So
on set. No.
I'm just waiting to see because I want to see if Dre and Snoop and everyone else exalted, and maybe they're doing the same because I haven't heard as much chatter as I would have liked to hear.
Right.
About the Tupac film, right? Like, where's
I understand what you
know
mean.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Where's Dre? Where's Snoop? Where's even Tretch and people who knew Pac, was with Pac, grew with Pac. Have they seen the film and been able to give it the stamp of approval that we're going to be excited for it?
Yeah, we can't wait to see. It's in post right now, so
here we go.
When it creeps up, because the hip hop community, we fall in love, and it was beyond hip hop with Pac.
Yeah.
So we fall in love with that, and when people get to see it, hopefully they co-sign and say,
Jamie Hector, always good to see you, sir.
My man, Ebro.
All right, thank you very much, man.
Yes, indeed.
Peace.